Join me. Words are easy.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everyone. We're so delighted that you are here with us for Shabbat and to mark the very special occasion today when Simon is going to be called to the Torah for the first time as a Jewish young adult. I'm Stephanie Bernstein, one of the rabbis here at Rodef Shalom. So delighted to be here with my colleague, Cantor Rachel Rhodes. And we wanted to welcome everybody on Zoom. So if you're on Zoom and you can hear me, please wave so that we know you can hear us. Good, I see people waving. That's a great sign. And I wanted to welcome everybody that's on Zoom, in particular the contingent from South Carolina, Simon's grandparents who are in South Carolina, so we give you a special welcome as well. And we wanted to let you know about how you can follow along in our service if you're not with us here in the sanctuary. And Cantor Rhodes will tell us how you can access the prayer book.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So glad that you're here joining us for this wonderful moment in Simon's life. If you'd like to follow along, which I hope you will, of course, all of us will be praying here together in the sanctuary, and we hope you'll be joining us in the Hebrew prayers and the English readings as well. You can find a link to our prayer book right above where you're watching the service on the streaming site, and it's a flip book, and you can follow along by typing in the pages at the bottom and finding your way through our prayer book. And we'll be doing a lot of singing on this joyful morning, and our next song is one, of course, also of joy, Hine ma tov u'ma na'im. How wonderful it is for all of us to be together here, virtually celebrating this wonderful moment and this Shabbat. So I hope you'll join us. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im sheven achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im sheven achim gam yachad. Same thing again. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im sheven achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im sheven achim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im sheven achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im sheven achim gam yachad.
The hearts of all of us are so full today of joy, and we have so many blessings in our heart for you, Simon. And I know that two people at the top of that list of people who want to give you their blessing are your mom and dad. So I invite you to stand with your mom and dad while they give you their personal blessing and while Cantor Rhodes shares a song, beautiful song, Lechi Lach.
Lechi lach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. We continue now with our call to worship, the Baruch Hu on page 195, and I'll invite Simon to come up to the podium. He will begin leading us in prayers right after this next prayer. And I invite you, if you feel comfortable doing so, to please rise at home and also here in the sanctuary.
Please join me in Yotzer Or, if you are comfortable with the Hebrew. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer Or, uvorei choshech, oseh shalom, uvorei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim, aleha birachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh, b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit. Marabu ma'asech Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mal'aha aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita, yifaru chasela. Or chadash al tion ta'ir, v'nizkeh chulanu meherat le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. Our service continues on page 198 with the first paragraph of Ahava Rabbah. Please join me. Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chem Gidol Avitera, Chamalta Aleinu. Ba'avur Avotenu, Ve'imotenu, Shebachu V'cha, Vatlamdem Chukei Chayim. Kein Techonenu Utlamdenu, Hamrachem Rachem Aleinu, V'tein B'libenu Lehavin, Ulehaskil. Lishmoa lilmod ulamed, Lishmor va'asot ulkayem, את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. We continue in English responsively on the next page. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity. Together, we give thanks to the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty of wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ava.
Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Please join me as we chant Ve'ahavta together on page 201. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meyodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha vidibartam ba b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kiddoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeet yadchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Please join me in the English. Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Page 203. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Mi chamocha
invite everyone to rise. Simon, please join your mom and your dad, and we will continue on page 205 with Tefillah. Please join me. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'imahot, Umevi Gehula livnei v'neihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Bezrat Sarah. Page 207. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol, Atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechaker chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umakayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech memi tumachayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. We continue on page 208 with Kedusha.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv oyad nevi'echa, v'kara zel zeh ve'amar, kadosh, 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 Adonai tsevaot, melech ol haaretz.
To all generations, we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. We continue on page 211. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, ritzei v'imnuchatenu. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to the holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 212. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael. On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know of your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. Baruch atah Adonai she'otecha levadacha b'yirah na'avod. Page 213. Modim anachnu lach she'atahu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu le'olam vo'ed. The beautiful prayer, Modim anachnu lach, thanks God for things that we take for granted perhaps every day, the beauty of the world around us, the love of friends and family, all of the things that are so numerous that it is impossible to count them. So as we prepare for a few moments of silent meditation and silent prayer, I invite all of us to take a few moments to think of all the many things for which we have to be grateful.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so wonderful that we're together on this Shabbat. Simon, you've already done such a beautiful job leading us this morning in your prayers and worship together. You really have such a beautiful poise on the bima, and it's exciting and wonderful to see how you've taken on this new role of leadership in your life. And I know that your parents are so proud of you, and we're very proud of you, and everybody watching you today is so incredibly proud as well. And in a moment, we'll have reached the pinnacle point in the service today, during which you, Simon, will officially become a Bar Mitzvah as you're called to read from the Torah for the first time by your Hebrew name. It's a moment we hope you'll remember for the rest of your life, and that everyone can be in joy with you during this moment of your life as well. And Simon has worked incredibly hard to get here, as I'm sure you all can recognize. A lot of learning, a lot of studying, a lot of time spent in front of many, many Hebrew prayers and the Torah portion. And we know that, Simon, you couldn't have gotten here, of course, without the loving guidance of your parents, but also without the loving guidance of your grandparents, who love you very much and who have taught you, as you continue to grow into a young adult, the many lessons that they have experienced in their lives. So it's my privilege to wish a mazel tov to Tom and Jill Bettendorf, who are here with us on Zoom. Mazel tov to the two of you on this incredible moment in your grandson's life. And in a moment, Simon, you will hold the Torah in your arms and officially take on this new role of responsibility. So I invite Peter to come up and take the Torah, and Monica, for you to stand with Simon here in the middle of the sanctuary in front of the steps as we pass down the Torah to Simon's arms and we sing a song of welcome to our Torah. Just over a little bit more in the middle there, guys. Perfect.
Simon, as you receive this Torah, remember its teachings, its wisdom, and its history. Let it guide you this day and all days. As you embrace it, so may you embrace what has meant for the Jewish people over the generations. Judaism is history and hope, learning and laughter. We pray that the story of the Jewish people continues brightly with you as you grow as a person and as a Jew. May you embrace the Torah your whole life.
And we continue together with the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael. You can keep holding the Torah, actually. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Beautiful. So I invite you, Simon, to give this Torah back to your dad. Peter will return it to its spot. And then you can approach your Torah here on the left and take the Torah mantle off the Torah and place it on the Torah stand to your left. And if you are standing at home, you may be seated now. You can go ahead and unsnap the girdle there and find your place. And you'll begin by reading an introduction to your Torah portion, Simon, so that everyone listening can understand a bit about what you're reading.
The Torah portion for this Shabbat that I will be reading is called Noah. It comes from the book of Genesis, and my Hebrew reading begins with chapter 11, verse 1. In this portion, the people build the Tower of Babel to reach up to heaven. God fears their power and scatters them throughout the world. God also confounds their speech so that they can't easily communicate to each other.
Beautiful. Thank you, Simon. For the first aliyah for your reading this morning, it's an honor to call up your father, Peter Groves. Yam aliyah Torah.
Baruch et Adonai, Barak.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu b'kol ha'amim, natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayhi chol haaretz safa echat, udvarim achadim. Vayhi benos am mikedem, vayimtzeu vik'ah be'eretz shinar, vayeshvu sham, vayomru ish el re'ehu. Hava nilbana levenim, v'nisrefa lisrefa, vati lahem havena le'aven, v'hachemar haya lahem lachomer.
Beautiful. Peter, you go ahead and read the after blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natah b'tekenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Sure. Koach. Simon, for your second Aliyah, it's an honor to call upon on Zoom your amazing tutor, Mrs. Nava Fetter. Tamud l'Aliyah Torah.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך,
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
Amen.
Vayomru hava nivnet lanu ir, umigdal v'rosho v'shamayim, v'na'aseh lanu shem penafutz al pnei chol haaretz. Vayered Adonai lirot et ha'ir ve'et hamigdal asher banu b'nei ha'adam. Vayomer Adonai, ein am echad v'safa achat lechulam, v'zeh hachilam la'asot, v'ata lo yibatzer mehem, kol asher yazmu la'asot. Hava nereda v'navala sham sefatam, asher lo yishmeu ish zefat re'ehu.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Shakoach, Nava, thank you so much. For the third Aliyah assignment, it's such an honor and privilege for me to call you up for the very first time by your Hebrew name as Bar Mitzvah. Yamod, 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 Habachor HaBar Mitzvah, Shimon ben Sur v'Manaka le'Aliyah Torah Chazak.
Baruchu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayafetz Adonai otam misham al penei chol haaretz. Vayachdelu livnot ha'ir al ken kara shema bavel kisham balal Adonai sifat kol haaretz umisham hefitzam Adonai al penei kol haaretz ele todot Shem ben me'at shana vayoled et arbach shad shanatayim achar hamabul vayechi Shem acharei holido et arbach shad chamesh me'ot shana vayoled banim uvanot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shar koach, mazel tov to you, Simon. Beautiful job chanting from the Torah this morning. You did so wonderfully. I'll invite you now to close the Torah scroll and to replace the mantle on top of it, and to come to the right side podium for your haftarah as we sing a farewell song to our Torah. B'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael, al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Just come right here for your haftarah. Tell us a little bit about your portion, and then for the chanting of haftarah.
We turn now to the Haftarah, or concluding reading of the Torah service. The Haftarah that I will read is from the book of Isaiah, beginning with chapter 54, verse 5. God makes a covenant with the people Israel who are currently in exile, just as God made a covenant with Noah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar binviim tovim veratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Abocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'Nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Ki v'alayich osayich Adonai tzeva'ot shmo v'go'alech kadosh Yisrael Elohei kol haaretz yikareh. Ki cha'isha azuva v'atzuvat ruach kara'ach Adonai v'eshet ne'urim. Ki tima'es amar Elohayich berega katon azavtich uvrachamim gidolim akabatzech b'shetzev ketzev histarti fanai rega mimech uvchesed olam richamtich amar go'alech Adonai. Ki me Noach zot li asher nishbati me'avor me Noach od al haaretz kein nishbati mikzof alayich umigorbach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'mdaber umkayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod ultif abrit al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umvarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha, befi kol chai tamid, leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Oh, Simon, wow, that was beautiful, beautiful. And I wanted to invite you now to share the Devar Torah, your insights into the Torah portion.
My speech. In my Torah portion, Noach, the people start to build a city. God comes down to look at the city that they had started to build. God does not like the way that they are building the city together, so God divides them all over the world. God gives them all different languages. It is not clear in the Torah why God split them up. I think that God did that because they were building the Tower of Babel sloppily. I think that they were building the tower sloppily because they were anxious to finish and get to the top of the tower. I think that God was trying to teach the people to take their time and do things properly. If you don't have a solid foundation, everything above it will be weak and fragile. Taking your time and doing something right is better than rushing to get something done quicker. For example, in baseball, if you rush your throw without doing the proper footwork, then your throw is more likely to be wild and miss your teammate. If you take your time and do the proper footwork, your throw is most likely going to be accurate. What happened in this Torah portion is also like rushing to go somewhere because you are excited to go, but then forgetting something that you needed. Before a sports game, if you skip warming up or stretching, then you have the risk of getting injured in the game. That is like sloppily building a tower and rushing to get to a part that was more valued to them. Another way this Torah portion is like sports is you have to show up to practice and take it seriously to build a solid foundation. You can't just show up to the game without practicing and without a solid foundation and expect to do good and build on top of a weak foundation. If you did that, you'd be letting down your teammates. When you are a part of a team, you have to do your part. If you are being lazy and not doing something right, but everybody else on your team is, that can have negative effects on the team. A team is only as good as its weakest part. It is very important to be a good teammate. People may not remember the skill that you had, but they'll remember if you were a good teammate or a bad teammate. I always try to be the best teammate I can be. I know my teammates are always trying their hardest to be successful and not make mistakes. And if they do, I don't blame them. I encourage them to keep looking forward and get the next one, since there's nothing you can do about what happened. I also encourage them not to panic on the next one and be energized, motivated, determined, focused, and to stay within themselves. This is because the next one is the most important one, and that is what matters most. So if we all try to be great teammates and work together to build a solid foundation and to work towards our common goal, then we will probably succeed and won't be split up by God like the people at the Tower of Babel were. Now for the thank yous. I'd like to say thank you to my parents. My mom, Monica, and my dad, Peter, have done so much for me. From school to sports and much more, they always support me and have my back. Thank you to the TRS clergy and preschool and religious school teachers for everything you've done to help me get to this day. Thank you to my Hebrew tutor, Nava Feder, for teaching me the Torah and prayer so well. I am honored that you contributed with an aliyah. Thank you to my grandparents for supporting me from a distance. I wish you could be here, but I'm glad to see your faces now. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Simon, so much. Please go ahead and have a seat. You've earned it. You've been working hard this morning. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful job you did leading us in worship, chanting Torah and Haftarah, and so much wisdom in that speech, a lot of wisdom. And one of the things that you taught me, Simon, was a new way to look at this narrative, this really famous narrative in the Torah of the Tower of Babel. Your interpretation, which I really loved, is that one of the problems that the people had, and one of the reasons that God ended up scattering them, is that they were rushing to complete a task. And I never thought about it that way. So I thank you for that. And I think what they were lacking, you are not lacking in this quality, but I think what they were lacking is the virtue of patience. In Hebrew, it's called savlanut. And savlanut can also mean to endure, to be able to sit with things, to sort of tolerate things that can be frustrating and may cause us a little bit of suffering. And this is often tough for us because we like quick results, we like gratification, and as you so aptly pointed out, using the metaphor of sports, that it's like training. You know, for a sport, you can't just show up for a game and say, okay, I want to play baseball without training, no matter how much we want to play the game. And patience, this waiting, hopefully not too much suffering during training, but patience is a really important quality to have. And this, I think, what you were teaching us is one of the things that the builders of the Tower of Babel did not have. They were not patient. And Judaism tells us in so many different places about the importance of patience. There's a beautiful teaching that says a hot-tempered man provokes a quarrel, a patient man calms strife. Patience is a virtue that we acquire through the study of Torah, our tradition teaches us. And patience also means trying not to get frustrated when things don't go our way. And that made me think of another Jewish virtue, which is humility. We often think of ourselves as being at the center of things, and it's not all about us. You know that so well in your beautiful teaching about the importance of being a good teammate. And one of the things that we can do is maybe to help ourselves be more patient, to identify situations that we know can make us impatient and try to think about in advance how we'll deal with them. And certainly we can help ourselves with this by planning, by taking our time, but we know that there are times that things that are unexpected that are going to come our way, things for which we can't plan. And we know that we've all had our patience tested during the pandemic, which is something over which we really do not have control. We know that often the road ahead is not one that is certain, but one of our great teachers, Rashi, taught that we should try our best to remain calm, even if the road ahead may not be steady for us. And there's something that's really closely tied to having patience, which is hope. Hope is something that's incredibly important in Judaism. There's a word, kiva, which has the sense both of to wait and to hope. As in the verse from Psalms, I wait, I hope for your deliverance, O God. Learning to have patience helps us to find the strength to confront whatever it is that we need to confront in our lives. However, there's one exception here, one caveat. There's sometimes when patience is not good. For example, when we see suffering, when we see injustice, when we see somebody that needs help, when our actions can help to alleviate suffering, at these times we must act. And in those situations, and I know you know this, patience is not a virtue. So the other thing that your wisdom made me think about, Simon, is to imagine what the Tower of Babel could have looked like if the builders had only taken their time. Perhaps by rushing to complete it, by not building a solid foundation, they shortchanged the creative process. Maybe it meant that not everyone who was building the tower was able to have their say. They weren't good teammates. Maybe they didn't even take the time to think about what this building was going to be used for, who would be using it. All of this, as you pointed out, Simon, takes teamwork, and it takes the understanding that it's not all about us, that it's about working together for the greater good. I was so touched by what you said, that you always try to be the best teammate that you can be. And there's humility in that, because you didn't say, I am the best teammate. You said, I try to be. So I was touched both by the statement and by the humility behind that statement. And I can say, and I know Cantor Rhodes joins me in this, that we are so glad that you are on our team here at Temple Rodef Shalom. You are a blessing to your family, to our TRS community, and for sure to the Jewish people. And as you have blessed us today with the beautiful way that you led the service and with your teaching, it's now Cantor Rhodes and my honor to give you our blessing. And I invite you and your mom and dad to come forward to stand just at the foot of the bima so that we can give you our blessing. Simon, may God always bless you and watch over you. Simon, may God's light always shine on you and be gracious to you. Simon, may God's face always be lifted to you. May you have a sense of God's wholeness and of God's peace.
With your two hands, prepare these words. Within your heart rests each verse. And with your voice, our story can be told. With your two hands, hold this scroll. Veshinon tam levanecha, v'dibot abam. Set these words upon your heart. Veshinon tam levanecha, v'dibot abam. With your two hands, write your part.
As we turn to the concluding prayers of our service, I invite you, Simon, and your mom and dad to remain standing where you are. We continue with Aleinu on page 282, and I invite everyone to rise.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shehu note shamayim v'yosed haaretz, umashavi karo b'shamayim imal, ushchinatu zo begofei meromim, hu Eloheinu einod. Vanachnu koreim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Our thoughts turn now to our loved ones, our family, our friends who are no longer living, and we think of all that they did to help make us the people that we are, to teach us their life, their Torah, their lessons. And in particular today, we recall Simon's grandparents, Sidney and Barbara Groves. And as we do so, we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chirhute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agolau v'zman kori v'imru. Amen. Yehe Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudisha brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may the memories of all of our loved ones always be for blessing. Amen. Please be seated. Simon, again, what an incredible job you did today. Mazel tov to you and to your mom and dad and your grandparents and your very proud tutor who I can see over there on the Zoom. And we want to tell you about some gifts that we're going to present you with. We don't have them now. Some of them are still in boxes. They have not been unpacked from our renovation and moving into our new space, but I want to tell you what you're going to be receiving. First of all, you'll get a beautiful certificate that was designed by a member of our TRS community, signed by the clergy, affirming this wonderful occasion. From the Women of Temple Rodef Shalom, you'll receive a copy of our Reform Movement's home prayer book, and there is an envelope inside in which you'll find 2 gift certificates. One is from the North American Federation of Temple Youth to use towards travel to Israel during your high school years, and also a gift certificate from our youth committee and from Tristy, plus the Tristy travel mug. And finally, from all of us on the clergy team, there's a Kiddush cup. We hope that you will use this every Shabbat as you move through your life. And again, we wish you Mazel Tov.
Mazel tov to you, Simon. Well done today. We conclude our service on page 322 with Ein Keloheinu. I invite you to please join us. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michemalkeinu, Mikemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Adonai oz lamoyitain, Adonai yivarech et hamo v'shalom. May God give strength to all of us Bless us with peace, with joy, and with patience. Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov.
Shabbat Shalom.